Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here, back with another part of What If Naruto Was Turned Into a Girl. And if you haven't, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. And without further ado, let's continue our story. The sounds of a thunder birds chirping filled the air of the stadium, and many people gasped at what they were witnessing. Thankfully, not everyone was frozen. As Sasuke reached Naruto, his arm coming forward to strike the blonde, two people intervened. The first was Ganma, the Jonin proctor of the exam. He grabbed Sasuke by the back of the neck. The second was Jiraiya, who appeared before his student and grabbed Sasuke's wrist, and with a flick snapped the boy's wrist. Before Sasuke could scream, Ganma had him slammed to the ground and immobilized. "You stupid little shit!" The Jonin snarled. "Stay where you are, Hatake," Jiraiya ordered as Kakashi made a move towards the student. "It's not okay?" he asked. "Why do you care?" Jiraiya hissed. "You taught a mentally unstable Genin an air-rank assassination jutsu." "Please, is she okay?" he asked again, fearing creeping up in his spine at the thought of what Uncle would do to him if harm had come to the blonde as a result of his actions. Kakashi would admit to himself if that he didn't understand what had happened to the blonde. He knew Naruto went from being a boy to a girl, but with the restraining order by the Hokage on Uncle's request, he had no clue about the other two members of his former Genin team. "Let me go," Sasuke said into the dirt. Genma pushed him down. "Stay quiet, you idiot." Genma made a motion and a pair of arms appeared. "Take Sasuke Uchiha to the holding cell for attacking a fellow Leaf Ninja." The Master Anbu moved forward and Sasuke turned. "Let go of me. Do you know who I am?" "Yeah," the first Anbu said. "An idiot that made Konoha look bad," the second one said as they bound his arms behind his back with chakra suppression cuffs and wire to bind his fingers. They vanished in a leaf sunshine. Muttering could be heard from the stands. Jiraiya looked at Kakashi. "You are an idiot," he said in a monotone voice for him to walk ahead of him. "We'll meet with the Hokage after this is all over and done." Kakashi blinked his lone eye at this. He knew he was in trouble, but he couldn't figure out why. He knew it had to deal with Sasuke, but wasn't sure what. Naruto looked at Ganma. She had yet to move since Sasuke went to attack her. Her blue eyes were on Gaara, who was still in a fatal position. She'd never seen someone so broken before, even herself having come closer when she was turned from a boy into a girl. "He's never fought without his sand armor before," she muttered again. "All Jinchurikis treated this bad. I was lucky Gigi did what he could for me," she thought. The water was now just above her toes. The air was evaporating without chakra to maintain it. She knew it wouldn't be long before the sand would be accessible by Gaara. "Gaara is unable to continue," Gana amplified voice carried all over the arena. "The winner of the match is Naruto Uzumaki." A mixture of cheers answered this. Many were still in shock over what had witnessed in front of them about the Uchiha. Naruto looked up to see Anko cheering for her loudly along with Sakura, Hinata and the other few. Naruto spotted Kiba sitting with his sister and mother cheering her on and nodded to Tsunmi. Naruto knew this match was tainted thanks to Sasuke Uchiha's actions and wondered what would happen next. Link break. Behind his veil, Orochimaru, disguised as the Kazekage, was gritting his teeth. Gaara had been defeated by a slip of a girl, and his weakness exposed for all to see. He motioned for his assistant and whispered in his ear, "Send a squad to retrieve the Uchiha and call off the attack. Jiraiya's here and we won't have the manpower to deal with them without Gaara." The masked nin nodded and sunshot away. "I am sorry to see your son defeated like that," the Hokage said to him. Orochimaru bit his tongue and instead of saying what he wanted, he said, "Yes, it is a shame. I was not aware of his lack of training," he said in a sad-sounding voice. The Hokage gave him a look but said nothing. Below the next match was taking place was Tamari was facing Shino. Damn, my throat hurts. Anyways, on to our story. Orochimaru wanted to get out of Konoha before anything else could go wrong. At least the Kyuubi shell isn't here. He thought, unaware that Naruto was there. He had seen was the result of his seal upon another link break. Shino's Kikai bugs were being blown away by Tamari's fan attack, but she wasn't noticing the group that circled around behind her along the arena wall. When she did notice was when one of the bugs crawled across her face and she screamed rather loudly even as she swarmed her back and drained away her chakra. Shino was given the win and Genma called for an intermission to allow the competitors to rest for 15 minutes. Temari was quickly escorted out by her sensei who was talking to her rapidly. Link break. Sakura found Naruto sitting on the ground with her legs crossed and eyes closed meditating. Jiraiya saw her and motioned for her to be quiet. Unfortunately, Anko didn't see and stormed in. Damn, Brad, you just full of all kind of whoop ass. Jiraiya sighed as the exercise was ruined for now as Naruto opened her eyes to see Sakura and Anko there. Hey guys, miss me? The blonde asked with a grin on her face. Anko's answer was to boop Jiraiya on the head. Boop? Ah, it's double. Bob. Anko's answer was to bob Jiraiya on the head. What's the big idea of sneaking away with my little sister? Do you know what I went through? The Totsani looked at her while rubbing the top of his head, wondering if she'd gotten a lesson for Tsunade. She's fine. I brought her back stronger than before, and a stupid note saying that took Naruto be back in time for exams is not my idea for informing me or even asking my opinion. A bark cut off anything Jiraiya would have said as Irukamaru rushed up and gave Naruto's face lick, getting a giggle from the girl. Sakura looked Naruto over and could see a well-toned stomach now, and she had to almost physically stop herself from licking her lips and drooling. So the pervert taught you a lot then, Anko said. Yeah, he's surprisingly a good teacher. Naruto said a giggle as Jiraiya affronted look. Hinata's sitting with us, Sakura said. How's she doing? Naruto asked, having heard about the seal placed on the lavender-eyed girl. Doing better, but she's concerned for you. A whistle drew their attention and they saw Kiba using his cane with his mother. Zumi-sama, Naruto said. Where's the Sama crap, girlie? You know me better. The head of the Inuzuka clan said. Iruka barked in greeting. Zumi turned and cuffed Kiba along the back of the head. Don't you have something to say? Kiba rubbed his head and looked around. What? In front of all these people? Which got him another smack to the back of his head. You did it in front of everyone, so you can apologize in front of everyone, Zumi said with a growl. Naruto, Kiba paused and looked at his mother who gave him a nod. I'm sorry for my actions a month ago during the preliminary rounds. Naruto just looked at him. I know what I did was wrong. Naruto remained quiet, then looked at Tsunami for a moment, then looked back to Naruto. I guess I can accept I did after all get even destroying your nuts. Kiba winced at this reminder, then asked the question that he'd been asking and thinking of asking ever since his mother and sister informed him about Naruto's change. Why do you still use your old name? Why not Naruto or something like that? Naruto sighed. Because it's my name. I may have switched genders and act a bit different now because of it, but at heart I am still Naruto Uzumaki and I refuse that the last thing that is left of mine to let go. Kiba blinked at this. So Brad, you're looking to win this thing? Anko asked. You have the bug user left. Naruto shrugged. I'll do my best. Best you beat that Gaara guy like he was an academy student, Kiba said while Sakura was looking at the blonde with concern. I thought I'd have to fight Sasuke, but that asshole can't even show up in time. Sakura put a hand on her shoulder in comfort. What are you thinking? Naruto asked the pink-haired girl. I'm worried about you, but also very happy you're doing so well, Sakura said. I was really worried when you had to face Gaara, but when you prepared that arena jutsu, that was so cool, Kiba said. But why did you dispel it so quickly? I didn't. Naruto said at Kiba's look. It was Anko who explained with some venom in her voice. It was the dumbass Kakashi. What? Kiba asked. How'd I get dispel the jutsu? He hadn't been paying attention, and when it came up, he thought someone outside of the exam set it up. Jiraiya said with a hint of disapproval. Sakura looked at the blonde and was worried not because of the upcoming fight, but the reactions she heard. Kiba, of course, had to ruin the peace with. So Naruto, you're smoking hard. The blonde blinked. Thanks. Would you like to go out on a dinner when this is done? Kiba asked and Sakura's fist sent him several feet away. His mother shook her head as she watched the pink-haired girl talk the blonde and Anko was laughing her ass off, while Jiraiya was scribbling his notes, talking under his breath. This will be called Konoichi gone wild. Oh, this is gonna sell like butter. Zumi sighed and went to gather her son, speaking with him again about adding the mental filter that would save him numerous beatings down the road. Link break. Hinata wanted to see Naruto, but her sensei thought she needed to show support to her teammate. Shino was sitting under a tree and meditating with his bugs forming a small swarm around him. He was thinking of his final opponent and logic had him confused. His bugs told him that Naruto had changed in more than a few ways. All he knew about the blonde had been thrown out of the window since the preliminary exams when Naruto is a female now. Ever since the change, every piece of data collected before became obsolete. Shino thought he looked up at his approaching sensei and his female teammate. He hadn't had time to think about her actions to the new Naruto, nor had he thought about her match of all, as he'd been using the month to train with his father. Now he knew he should have taken the time to check his information. Sensei, Lady Hinata, he said in a monotonic voice, looks like a Konoha final. Yes, Kurne said. You're well, Shino. Kurne asked as she gave him one overlook. Are you well, Lady Hinata? Shino asked, avoiding his sense's question. She jumped a bit. I'm fine, Shino. Thank you for your concern, but you shouldn't worry about me. You have a match to prepare for yourself. Shino said nothing as he looked at his sensei. Any advice? You already know not to underestimate Naruto Uzumaki. She is not the same as she was when you were in the academy, Kurenai said, the gender bending obviously unsaid. Shino nodded, and even as the crowd returned, he felt a bit of unease at the upcoming fight. He saw a hint of the blonde, and his eyes went to where Naruto was, being hugged by his pink-haired teammate. He looked at Hinata and saw her eyes were down, and the brief team meeting left him with more questions that he didn't have answers to. But from now, he would do the best he could. It was all he could do. Shino looked at Naruto, his head cocked to the side, and behind his shade, his eyes were studying the blonde girl, and he had to admit Naruto was, as a girl, was the polar opposite of what she had been like a boy. Where the male Naruto had been loud, the girl was quiet. Where the male Naruto had been brash and would rush in, the female would be quiet and study her opponent, and it would showed in her match against Gaara. Stare hard enough, Shino, and you'll give him a complex, Naruto said, crossing her arms under her cloak. I'm trying to figure you out, Naruto, Shino said. Yeah? When you do, let me know, because I'm trying to figure myself out as well, Naruto said with a teasing grin. Shino swallowed and dipped his face lower in the raised collar of his jacket. He wouldn't admit it out loud, but this new Naruto had gained his attention. Not only in her behavior, but his father laughed when he admitted to him that he found her attractive. Let's have a good fight, okay? Naruto said to him. Shino nodded. Genma had given them their instructions and fight order to begin, finally. From Shino's sleeves rushed thousands of Kekai bugs. Naruto shook her head and dropped several smoke bombs. Shino's first few bugs hit the smoke and fell to the ground. Pesticide, the Abraham said. It's not lethal. They'll be fine in an hour. It's a paralyzing agent, Naruto said as she sent a hail of shurikens at Shino, who leapt away and recalled his insects to him. He noticed now Naruto kept the smoke around her, giving her a shield against his insects. He also knew he couldn't get close without becoming ill, either as a side effect of his family leaving hives inside of them. Shino dodged and then picked up several shurikens that Naruto had thrown and sent them back at the blonde. He watched as she wasted little moment in dodging, and it told Shino that the blonde training had been stepped up drastically to fix the mistakes from the academy that he noted when he was forced to move as several more smoke bombs hit the ground. Shino couldn't chance them being regular smoke or the poisonous smoke. He still had a few of Naruto's wasted shurikens to use, but he knew he had to be careful. It's a waiting game, Shino said. Naruto shrugged. I've gotten used to it thanks to my big sister Hanko and Dara-san. Naruto started to move, and Shino watched as the blonde girl dove into the fresh smoke as the first cloud was beginning to disperse. Mekekai won't be able to latch on to her. She'll have the insecticide on her skin from being in the cloud. Shino thought. Looks like my only option will be close quarter combat. He began to advance but leapt away as four Narutos erupted from the smoke cloud. Shadow clones, Shino thought, and sent his bugs at them, forming them into a spear as they spent closer and popped the first clone. Shino realized his attention had been drawn as Naruto drove out of the clone's cloud and sent more shurikens at him. While the blonde was in the air and he was busy dodging, his eyes spotted her performing several seals and it was soon began to rain. You're scared the arena, so I can't use my bugs. Shino said, and he had to admit this Naruto was making it very hard not to like her, as she proved to actually be thinking ahead. Naruto landed with a splash and gave him a grin. What can I say? I did study on everyone I could or would face in this tournament. And I actually remembered a nature show I watched there where insects that I've seen you clan race and water don't mix. The area effects jutsu is impressive, Shino said before he lunged towards the blonde. The splashes were the only sound heard as Naruto ducked under or evaded Shino's blows. This caused the Abrama hair to leap back and wonder what the blonde had in mind. He looked at her hair. Her hair was plastered on the cloak. But her hair cloaked impressive, Shino thought as he blinked behind his shades and avoided a leaping sidekick from Naruto. She landed with a splash and the water didn't seem to slow her down as she spun on her head, first with a leg sweep and then she was in motion doing a handstand and spinning around her legs, lashing out quickly. What style is this? Shino questioned aloud. Naruto spun and connected with a racing uppercut that connected with Shino's chin and he flew through the air and landed with a hard splash. Like Erosalen taught it to me. She rushed towards him and Shino did a back roll to his feet and tried to block, but Naruto started to weave and he saw it was part of that strange style she was using. He managed to block a lot of the hits, but then he missed it all as Naruto spun and thrust her fist at him and he felt like he'd been kicked in the gut by a mule as he went flying backwards. I know she didn't hit me. What was that? He thought and knew he didn't have the chakra to stop the rain. He was currently pacing through scenarios that were left open to him and realized that the current conditions he had no choice either. Proctor, I yield, Shino said outright as Naruto's fist stopped only inches from where it would have connected with and most likely broken his nose. You given up? Naruto asked, looking around her fist. Shino nodded and watched as the blonde pouted. Why? Under these conditions, I have no alternative means of attack, and in the next 5 minutes, with your new taijutsu style, I would have been defeated. Shino said, spoiled sports. Naruto pouted and cancelled the monsoon. Shino blinked at how easy it seemed to her. You must have large chakra, sir, he muttered. Naruto grinned and opened her cloak and cupped her breast. Why, Shino? How kind of you to notice. Shino proved at that moment he was a male as he exploded backwards, propelled by the twin jets of nosebleed from his nose. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki! Kenma carried out as the arena came alive. The blonde pouted a bit, then raised her arms and waved. Not to the crowd, but to Anko, who she could hear over the crowd, and to those who mattered to her right now. Sakura, Hinata, Zumi, Jiraiya. Naruto smiled as Iruka had rushed to the floor and barked as she pounced around her, cheering in glee at her companion's victory. Naruto gazed went to the Hokage box as saw the Hokage looking at her. The old man gave her a soft smile while clapping at. He nodded his head. She understood the message. Job well done. Link break. Surprising end there. Hiruzen said, looking at the Kazekage. The veil-wearing Kage was silent for a bit. I admit it was surprising. The Kazekage said the voice was nearly a miss. I must be going. I have been away from Suna long enough. The Kazekage stood. Don't want to wait around for the promotion recommendations? No. Send them by couriers. Hiruzen watched the Kazekage go and shook his head. Ibiki. The man standed from the shadows. Report. The Suna and Auto representative pulled out of Konoha before the beginning of the final round. We intercepted a courier that had the messages to report and abort. Hiruzen nodded. It seems my former student changed his mind with the death of Gaara. Jiraiya's spy network had been hard at work since the event in the forest and Konoha was ready for the invasion. What should we do, my lord? Ibiki asked. The Hokage looked at the arena and smiled. For now, keep an eye on the things in Suna. And the girl? The Hokage looked at the head of his Zanbu and interrogation department. You can be the one to talk with Anko. Ibiki's face fell. I wish you the best of luck, the Hokage said with a grin, and Ibiki wanted to say the words that came to his mind, but he bowed his head knowing that those were words one didn't say to his leader. Link break. Naruto wasn't sure who reached her first, Anko or Sakura. They squeezed off being hugged by both while they shouted about all the scene. Anko released him and this allowed Sakura to readjust her own grip and Naruto found herself. She didn't mind as she leaned into Sakura's strong grip while Anko was crowing about how her little sister won the whole damn exam. The blue-eyed blonde found her gaze going to the council box and the decision going on there. Sakura felt her tense. What's wrong? The council. They won't let me advance. Naruto said, her bangs covering her eyes in the shadows as she looked down. What? Why? She asked and looked to see the heated discussion taking place in the council box. Uncle gave a growl. They can't deny your advancement. You've shown qualities looking that are possibly fortunate. They don't pass you, then they better have a goddamn good reason. The snake mistress hissed like one of her serpents and narrowed her eyes. Honorable council members of Konoha, don't worry about it, Brad, Jiraiya said. Hinata and Kiba were over by Shino consoling him in his loss, and they were the ones on the field other than Naruto and those important to him. The old man will put them in their place. You think so, Sanin? Naruto asked, not looking up. They've gotten away with so much over the years. Trust the old man, kid. Jiraiya's own gaze on the council couldn't assure the blonde girl. The Hokage stood. Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests and friends, the Hokage was carried to the point of the stadiums. This year Chunin exam has come to an end and congratulations to your Naruto for winning. Promoting will be handed out later tonight in the private ceremony. This was some muttering as the crowd wanted to be part of this, but it was something private that Hokage refused to just let anyone in. He wrapped up his speech thanking the crowd and informing everyone that the next Chunin exams would take place in another year. He paced. Jiraiya said, about what? Naruto asked. The toad sage said nothing. He had an idea, but his apprentice didn't need to worry about it right now. Sakura dragged Naruto along and Anko followed, both promising Naruto ramen, and that helped cheering the blonde up somewhat. Jiraiya's eyes met those of his former teacher and they shared a nod. Hell is coming, Jiraiya thought, and the excitement of the Chunin exams was about to give away the something far more dangerous. I just hope that the brat is ready for what's coming, the Sanin thought as he looked over the shoulder. And I pity anyone that tries to harm her. Her pink-haired friend hits like Tsunade. He felt a twink. Not to mention that little Yuga girl. Jiraiya didn't even want to think of his talk with Anko. I hate snakes, he thought as he remembered her threat to him and knew his talk with her later wasn't going to be pleasant. As this is where I'm going to be leaving this part of. Well, guys, I hope you like this one, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. And this is Apollo Uchiha and I am signing out. Peace.